I don't want to work in politics anymore. It's too much to me. Civic.
It's hard.
And once again, ladies and gentlemen, United Flight 1017 to Calgary is closing doors in 1 minute. Ticketing confirmed passengers must be on board at this time at gate B49. Attention on the concourse. United Flight 1017 to Calgary. Satisfied with boarding on board.
I just read that Israel entered
No.
even by ground or by land.
Because the last time I went to the beach, as you said, was on the 7th of October when the war started, and it was very early in the morning. It's like 5:30 in the morning, and it's just a year passed, and and I didn't swim in the beach after that. But I didn't have the ability to look to the sea because the last time I was on the beach, all over it was war, and I have to run, with my son to escape or to survive. I was born during a year of war in 1973. I was born in August and the war broke out in October. And I was born in a refugee camp. So I was born during war, and I lived all my life in the wars. In the first Intifada, when I was shot 3 times by the Israeli soldier, I was 15, 16 years old. Then I went to Israeli jail because I was throwing stones on the soldiers. And so I lived all the wars of Gaza. But I didn't imagine that I will live another war. So that day, 7th October, was the Palestinian National Heritage Day. So we were supposed to the first time to celebrate it from a Gaza museum, Carrara Museum, which is in Khan Younis, east of Khan Younis. Even when it started, we were saying, I was still telling my brother and my son and my brother-in-law, we were 4 of us in the waves swimming. I was telling, this is another escalation, which means this is irregular. Because when you get used to war, everything becomes normal. Gaza was besieged for 17 years by the Israeli. Nonetheless, it was a very prosperous and a beautiful city. So even despite all wars and all destruction and all siege, it always was vivid. Gaza, but it's never given the chance to live. What the Israelis are doing, they're not killing persons only. They're killing the place itself. They're destroying the monuments, the buildings, the houses, the streets, the statues, the culture, the cultural centers, the cinema, the theater houses, the public libraries. This fight or this war is not only against the human, the persons. It's against the place, the memory of the place, the history of the place. Nobody can do anything if as far as Israel is controlling the borders. So, of course, the Palestinian Authority should do more. And the international community and the Arab countries should. But honestly, without the permission of the Israeli Authority, nobody can get a tank inside. Because nobody can stop Israel from the genocide that is taking place. So So I mean, of course, I was part of the Palestine. I was Minister of Culture at that time when I was in Gaza, and I wanted more intervention of the Palestinian Authority in the humanitarian aid. But Israel doesn't allow anybody to intervene. Even the people here in the past, they want to do more, but they cannot. This tells you how much the international law is crippled when it comes to Gaza. It's incapable of doing anything. And Netanyahu maneuvering and, playing with the word. And now he went to Lebanon for another war. Instead of telling him stop the war in Gaza, now they're telling him stop the war in Lebanon. So this means Gaza is guaranteed it has more time for him. He will have more time to expand his war. So, yeah, of course, we all didn't do our job when it comes to Gaza. When I was 13 years old, I worked in politics, actually. Then I joined Fatah group, what we call it, I don't know what you call it, in the first Intifada when we were part, I was born as a refugee, and I didn't, then I went and asked my dad, my mother, why we live here? What is a refugee camp? It doesn't exist in the definitions. For this, I joined Fatah because, and I believe that we should fight for our rights. And you cannot be given your rights for free. When I was teaching in the university in Gaza, many of my students were telling me that we never saw the world outside Gaza. They see it from television and the movies. They don't know how does it feel to, to fly or to take a train. And the opposite, Gaza for the world is a piece of news behind the screen. In many occasions, you cannot be neutral. Because a neutral means you're on the wrong side. Actually, at that time, the president thought that we need to change the government in order, to facilitate any mission if the international community thinks we need a new government. Because our government was more politically. We come from political parties.
Yeah.
So the president said, okay, we need a party with no political party. A government without political party. Myself, I didn't want to be in the government again. I'm an author, no. And I can defend my people through my writings better than even being a politician. The nostalgia of the Palestinian in our mind. At the beginning, I was writing it because I thought until you catch the line. The Palestinian Authority was genuine. They wanted peace with Israel. And Europe wanted them to have peace with Israel. And for this, they're losing support. You disagree with Hamas. This is politics. People disagree with each other. But if you want to have a Palestinian national unity, then you'll have Hamas. But the question, do you need Hamas in the government? This is something else. Because at the end, you need this government to cooperate with the world. And most of the world, including Europe, includes Hamas in the terrorist list. So you need to find a recipe or a way in which, every Palestinian party is involved in the making the Palestinian future. Because again, you cannot tell me you want to be democratic, then you tell me this doesn't include Hamas. So I think peace has to be fought for. You cannot achieve peace just by clapping or by smiling or giving statements. We need to fight for peace. So first, Palestinian state should be organized from all over the world. Then the next step, if Israel doesn't accept a peace deal with the Palestinians and with the international community, then Israel should be banished. Israel is not above the law. Unfortunately, it behaves as if above the law. Here and everywhere in Europe, you find Israeli products which were in the spinners. Or even Israeli factories, they enjoy preference and treatments according to the EU. And then this money goes to the Israeli military industry, which makes ships and military tanks which attack Gaza. So again, it's not that you should be with Palestinians or with Israelis. It's that you have to choose either you're human or not. And you have to stand to your ethics and moralities. So I lost 135 members of my family, including my father, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, blah, blah, my cousins, mine. So I always feel like, this war is still inside me. Because still now I have brothers and sisters in Gaza, and every day I have to make more calls to make sure they're okay. Even when I always say, when the war finishes, it doesn't actually finish, because the consequences of the war continues. And the only hope I want is that next year I don't sit you and me here and we talk about the war while the war is continuing. I hope so.